Hello, 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 and welcome. Hello and welcome. All right, so welcome to the internet, um, and more specifically YouTube. More specifically, my Dwarf Fortress video. Thank you for showing up. It's the first time on the internet. There's a lot cooler stuff out there than me. I'm honored that you're here, though. All right, so I am gonna get started with. Oh yeah, you know what? I was going to actually go to the. All right, so yeah, I just want to tell you a little bit about the world I created. I was going to actually, just kind of go into create a new world and show you the setup that I used, but I can just as easily tell you, so that's not a big deal. This is a smaller world, medium history, so this is the year 250, which I, went to the full extent, and um, so it's also medium civilizations, low sites, which actually kind of help. It just, I guess, it produces less places where they can build and such. And medium beasts, high savagery, not very high, but high savagery, and very high, and minerals everywhere. So it's maximum minerals. All right, so here are my dwarves. This is going to be an episode 0. I'm just going to talk about strategy. So this is definitely not, a must-see video, but this is kind of the setup I have. I got Silab, who is a furnace operator, metal crafter. A lot of these dwarves are going to have a first act and then a second act, as far as their role in the fortress. And Silab's first act is furnace operator. One thing I brought a lot of, got a broken, a broken wagon. Kind of humorous the way that happens, I think, where they it's like, oh, they get so excited they just run it up a freaking hill. Like, did you even plan on going here? Is that what like what's the story behind it? Now in this case, yes, because look at what we got here. We got a volcano. This is a volcano in bark, which I'm very, very, very happy with. It's very tall here too, and I'll get to this in a second. But yep, it's right there. It's right there. I can actually build here and have furnaces, which I'm actually going to do. And as we can see, we're on the side of a mountain, which I'm getting ahead of myself, but let me explain my dwarves first, and then I'm going to talk strategy. Where are we? We're kind of down there. Okay, there we are. All right, so I'm going to start with the leader first. It's the Bach. Potter. So this is a dwarf that doesn't really have a second act. Vibak is going to be a potter, which it just worked out perfectly because if you saw at the top there, the volcano is right by a bunch of fire clay. So this is going to be a a stoneware fort. There's going to be a lot of stoneware. In fact, I don't know if any of you Dwarf Fortress fans out there who watch other people, Jen Jeft actually has the stoneware fort. Stoneware. I don't know why I keep saying that, but the stoneware fort. Mine, yeah, I'm gonna have a lot of stoneware bricks too. Not that I'm copying them, but this is just serendipitous. And plus, also, I think it's a cool concept. I don't blame them for doing that. So, I'm gonna have a lot of stoneware. I'm gonna do it a little different because what I'm not gonna get ahead of myself. I'm gonna explain. Okay, I'm just gonna explain the dwarves first. Sorry, I'm just so excited. It's Dwarf Fortress. It's how I am. It's who I am. All right, so. Vibak is a potter, but he's also gonna be the broker. So I mean that's kind of his role. And I did a little the skills a little different. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll put one in comedian and conversationalist, which is great social skills. Comedian, your dwarves don't necessarily develop that. It's in real life. Not everybody's a comedian, but even if they don't have the propensity to, they automatically have it. So maybe it's a dry sense of humor. I don't know. But and maybe it won't develop, but hey, it's helpful. It's helpful for a likable skill. I also like to put one in an appraiser. That way you can know stuff off the back. However, you really have to do appraiser because you do get it. Very quickly. I've noticed with this generation. I think it used to be harder to do. I also usually get, and I didn't this time. I would get a Negotiator and Persuader, which are key. But again, those develop pretty quickly, I've noticed. So what I instead did is put an additional one into Comedian, and I took Pacifier, which is kind of an odd skill. It's not one that you really need for a broker. It's not. I mean, it's actually something that's probably a little bit better as a manager or a leader. But he is the expedition leader, and there's a little sense in this because just kind of cleared out. This keeps the dwarves calmer. This is somebody who kind of it's the cooler head that calms people down. So there's some value there, in case it's helpful. I think somebody has that, so that's nice. Is my point. Now I'm going to go back to Syllab. Syllab here is furnace operator, metal crafter. I brought, what is it? I think like 185 bituminous coal, which I don't need because of the way the volcano is. Que sera, sera. And I have like 125 sand. That's primarily what I got. I got 8 ruddle boulders, which I'm going to turn into blocks. I got 1 willow log, which is a good thing I brought it because you could. I mean, if I had a wagon, I could deconstruct it, but I don't have the wood anymore. For whatever reason, when they destroy the wagon, they somehow destroy the wood. I don't know how that works. I mean, even if you do a drop where you, like, destroy your wagon, like drop it through Z levels and just explodes and stuff like that, you still get the wood, but for whatever reason, wood is gone. So I do have the 1 willow log, which I could turn into some charcoal and start burning the bituminous coal, and I have the ruddle to actually make the proper furnaces to do that, to facilitate that. I got 1 of each of the milks, 1 barrel. It costs only 1, and it gives you a free milk. The reason why I do that is not just because cheese is more valuable in cooking and stuff like that, and skills up your cook, which, as you can see, I don't have one. It's going to be a migrant for now. I think it's going to be Vabuk or Vabak or Vabak. I don't know. I don't speak Dwarven, but I'll have somebody do it in the meantime. But the other reason is I can turn off permissions, which I'll show you in episode 1. This is episode 0, so the excitement will continue in further videos. All right. So, but obviously the second act here, which is a while from now, is Metal Crafter. There's going to be plenty of furnace operating, well, and other things too. Metal Crafter is just not high on the priorities right off the get-go. I don't need that. As you can also see, I'll go to the glass maker here. Yeah, because this is actually what I primarily have. I have 125 sand. That gives me 125 bags. The bags, if you bought them individually, are 10 points. Sand is only 1, and you get a free 10-point bag. It's kind of broken. But I'm okay with it. I get sleep at night. Not much, but that's for different reasons. All right, so proficient glass maker. Also, I made him the doctor. Gave him 1 in each one. Diagnostician. That's key for the doctor, but, he's got a little bit of everything there. And so that's Kumil. And that he's, again, somebody who doesn't really have a second act. So I'm kind of getting this guy out of the way, too. Somebody who doesn't have a second act. And I'll go to the carpenter next. We'll look at roles, because actually this is what I also do. I look to see who has the most propensity to do this. I took, Endok, I took her as the weaponsmith because she likes spears, but it's kind of low numbers. I forget what it was. I think it might have been low 60s or something like that. But that's just because she likes to make spears, likes earrings, likes buckets. You get the idea. Nothing on armorsmith here, but it doesn't always work out. Bucklers, I think, which is unfortunate because bucklers are probably who cares? I guess is what I'm saying. Who cares? All right, so as you can see, I gave Olan wood cutting and carpentry. So Olan is the other person who does not have a second act. Olan is a carpenter and is able to provide his own trees. Doesn't have an axe, but we'll make one because we brought also, in addition to the other things that I mentioned the milks. We bought all the milks. Let's go through everything because this is most okay. The other things I brought are 5 malachite, which is the ore of copper, 4 cassiterite, which is the ore of tin, and 1 sphalerite, which is the ore of zinc. You mix the sphalerite, or I mean tin, the cassiterite, which is the ore of tin, and the malachite, which is the ore of copper. You get bronze. Yeah, you get bronze, and which is a military metal, so I can start making picks and axes. I'm only going to make one, but so that'll make 8 per each combination, and I have 4, so that's 32. So I'll end up with 31 picks, 1 axe, and the sphalerite, which is the ore of zinc, you mix that with the ore of copper, malachite, you get 8. Brass, which is bling bling. It's not a military metal, but I can make a couple buckets, make 5 buckets, and 3. Well, I'll get into that, but I'm going to make 3 blocks, and I'm going to make the tray depot. I'm going to have a brass tray depot. I usually like to do that. The other things I brought are 3 female dogs, 1 male dog, which I'm all going to turn into war dogs. I don't have a hunter, so that'll be the next generations. Like when they have puppies, I'm going to make the males hunters and the females war dogs. Something about, I forget where I saw this, but female dogs, they're if they're war dogs, their puppy litters are stronger. It doesn't really transfer from the male though so much. All right, so that's Olin, and then I'll go to Zolban. Zolban's first act is the mechanic, and this may actually be. Zolban may never actually get to the second act, which is armorer. Somebody might come along that's better, or I just, I should be, this just should work out. So it's actually kind of cool when you have dual proficient dwarves, because if a great armor smith or a great mechanic comes in, it's like, oh, hey, Zolban, we know what you're doing now. It's the opposite of whatever they're doing. Then I'm going to go to Fath. Fath is a blacksmith who likes making buckets, which is great. I do like coffins. Well, not that I like coffins, but because I like to skill up, because like sometimes you might unfortunately need a coffin in the first couple of years, and it's a good thing to skill up, because I have this thing where I like to use it all either exceptionally crafted or masterwork, which is kind of hard to do, and every piece of furniture costs like 3 bars. There's a few things that don't. Bucklets is one of them. You can just make bucket after bucket, so you could skill it up pretty quick. And Doc, I explained like spears, but also over here you can see they're both masons as well. So this is actually kind of, both of these dwarves, Endok and Fath, they have a first act, second act, and then a first act, and then they go to a third act, which is their first act. All right, so right off the bat, I'm gonna have Fath make the 3 blocks and the 5 buckets, and then I'm going to have Endok, just crank out the picks and the 1 battle axe, and then they're going to go back to masonry for quite a while, and then they, and again, similar to Zolban, they may or may not go back to that. Like, also Silab too, if somebody comes around and they're great metal crafters, like, all right, well, Silab, you're doing something else. May or may not be metal crafting, but, that's it. So those are the dwarves. As far as animals, I got a pair. Water buffaloes. So I'm going to have water buffaloes, which is cool. The other thing I brought also, in addition to the dogs, I forgot to mention, is 2 cats, male and female. So I'll be able to, I got a male cat and a bisexual female cat, because why not? And turkey. It's funny how specific they are. I got a bisexual turkey, and so these will produce eggs. So I'll have eggs and turkey meat and that sort of thing. Turkeys are great because they're the second biggest as far as producing meat. The biggest, I believe, is geese. Geese don't have as many eggs. Turkeys have generate the second amount of most of eggs. I can't talk, but like chickens, I think are the best with that. But I think turkeys are all around the best. That's why I picked them. The other thing I brought, I think the last thing, and the last thing I brought, so I mentioned the 125 sand. I brought 6 of each booze, and the reason, there's an exploit reason for that. Like for instance, there's this dwarven rum barrel. Let's see how much is in here. 5. So I got one with 5 and one with 1. So that's how much this can contain. It's 5. You can only get, so if I find another rum barrel, it's going to only have 1 in it. And that's because, oh yeah, see here, this will only have 1. See, just one unit. It can hold up 4 more, but you get a free 10-point barrel with it. So, bit of an exploit again. You know, I struggle to sleep at night over cheats. Well, I don't really, but you know, it does let me embark with stuff a little bit more heavy, which I like. I like to have a little bit more supplies off the bat. This is a little. This is like a set where you can start with, you know, it's a startup group. I mean, you don't have the picks, but you make them, so it's kind of cool. It's based off of the minimalist embark, but this is actually more of a maximalist. But the minimalist is where you just bring um, just a couple. You bring like 1 malachite or native copper or whatever, and you bring like 1 other stone or something like that, and you could create the whole fortress from that. You can, you know, oh, and the anvil, of course. But you bring only like 3 things, and you use the wood from the wagon, that sort of thing. So, but yeah, in this case, it wouldn't work because I don't have a wagon because they rammed it right up the mountain. All right, so what I like about this embark, what I really love about this embark, is that although you know I never get a perfect place. I mean, perfection is a little elusive. It's a little hard to get. This place is really nice. This place is really nice. It doesn't have. I mean, it has most of what I'm looking for. It's all forested area. Okay, to explain a little bit about the area, it's an all forested area. It's a 5x5, so this place is huge, huge. I like a big embark. It's not good for the CPU and the computer will complain, but I got a powerful computer, so it should be all right. So this place is huge. It's better for me to have flat, but I don't mind this the way it is because there are certain advantages, which I'll get to in a second. All right, so I have a brook. This is a disadvantage that this is so far away from this. It's almost as far as you can get, almost. It's nice to get them to closer together so I can work with them directly more. But, you know, it is what it is. So here are my plans, because like I said, this is an episode 0. The thing I first do is I set up I use the willow log and I set up a mason's workshop. So I won't really get into this as much in episode 1, this is episode 0 thing, and start cutting the blocks. I'm just going to start cutting them, and I'll have 8 of them. So that makes for this again. That's 32. I'll get 32 blocks. Now, what's great about this is that sometimes when it's on the side of the mountain, there's like nowhere to put stuff, and you gotta go all the way down or all the way up or something like that. But this is perfect because look, DWM. I can put this right here, and as you can see, there's the 8 rattle and the one willow log. So I could put the mason shop there. Oh, that's Bowers, but same difference. I'm just showing you where you can and can't put stuff. So I can put the mason shop there. I'll put the smelter here. Once I cut all the blocks and get what I need out of this, I will take this apart because I'm going to need the wood for the wood furnace, which I'll show you where I'll put that. But then I'll put the furnace. I mean not the furnace. The forge here. I'll have the smelter here. I'll put the glass furnace here. So as you can see, there's ramps around here and here. Got easy access because it's you know, it has a lot to do with pathing. So we got this sand here and the bituminous coal. Yes, I have a volcano, but the speed is of the essence here. I could take out these trees and actually ramp these down to make it even a little smoother. All right, so I'll have that. I could put the wood furnace. Is it here? Yeah, I could put it here. Yeah, actually, it gives me a lot of little places to work, which is great because a lot of times you don't have that. And as far as where I'm going to kind of set up shop, I think I've decided I'm going to go in Oh, I'm going to go in here. I'm going to go in here as an entrance. I'm going to have a few entrances, and I'll eventually... I have a couple concepts. My initial security will be door defense, walls and door defense, which will help against a were creature, but it doesn't help against much else. And I'm going to put a big keep here. See, we got not too far down, you get the stone. I'm going to do some terraforming where I'm going to take the scythe down. I was thinking I would go down to, maybe down to here. So a little ambitious, but hey, I like to be ambitious. Ambitious is a good quality. So thinking having a keep here. Maybe having this as another entrance, I don't know. I'm not married to that idea, but I do like it. I think I'll probably still do it. I'm thinking here and here and then taking this down, but I don't know. That's not necessary. Could even actually, floor this over and have the key. I don't know. Make it look cool, I guess. And I was going to actually terraform that down a bit. Take down the fire clay. And I was going to have another entrance, speaking of entrances, over in here because I'm going to crank out a lot of stoneware, not stoneware bricks right here, and I'm going to help to make my keep out of that. Now, if you've watched Jen Jeff's video, which I haven't saw the whole series, I saw a couple of the later ones, and I saw like up to 9 or 10. I don't know how far I'm into this series. I'm watching it piece by piece. There's a lot. I mean, he's been recording for quite some time at this point. Because I watch a lot of people, so it's hard to, All right, so I'm going to get a whole bunch of them in here, at least like 4, but possibly even more, and just get people making bricks and bricks and bricks. Now, what he did was he made a stoneware fort, and he's like, yeah, but I'm going to use wood for the floors because, it's going to take forever otherwise. I'm actually going to be more ambitious than that. First off, I'm going to make the fortress out of obsidian, because obsidian is cool. And I'll actually be able to generate that actually a little easier. But the ambitious part is I'm actually going to make the flooring out of the bricks, which, oh boy, that's a big commitment. But I'll have time to do it because there won't be as much demand for flooring. Like I'll need some, because initially the walls go up. I mean the whole key is like if I can defend myself from all the initial rabble first, and then I can work on the rest of it. I'm going to enclose part of this volcano here. This is the plan. I'm going to enclose part of this volcano here. There's going to be some, like I'll have the kilns, magma kilns here. I'll have like maybe 1 or 2 glass furnaces eventually. Also, speaking of which, there's sand not incredibly far away, not incredibly close either, but there's sand right there. So I'll be able to access it. Maybe even go down and, so I can keep out from the elements and the attacking creatures. And I'll have an entrance in through here, which I will have some door defense. So, and door defense, like, creatures can break through. But beyond the door defense, I will have a bridge, so I can have some true defense, because nothing gets through those. Some cage traps. So I'll have some cage traps for any type of fire creatures, because, like, if you get too big for your britches, fire creatures will come up and fuck you up. I had a fireman, which is basically a man composed of fire. I don't know. Came up once and killed a few of my dwarves. But I'll have some cage traps here, and I won't make them out of wood. I'm going to have a couple rules. I don't want to make any wooden cage traps if I can help it, which is a little bit of a challenge because I do plan on buying animals from the elves. There's ways you can get it so they don't use the cages, because when you make cage traps, you pick the mechanism, but they just grab whatever cage that they have available. There's a few ways you could do it. You could forbid them, which that's not what I would do, or you could sit them up, a lot of times I try and trade away their cages. Like if humans, dwarves come by, I'm like, hey, you want some elven cages? You could actually sell them back to the elves again, but they're definitely not the first one. Whoever comes after the elves. I think it's humans. I just sell them the elven cages. The humans are like, yeah, the dwarves always give us the elven cages. I don't know why, but I know why. All right, so yeah, so we'll have some furnaces. I'll have a foundry here. I'll have some magma furnaces, magma. What do you call it? Shops, metal, forges. I can't think. Words are not my friend right now. All right, so that's all that, and let's see. Yeah, so oh, here's the thing about cages. I want all my cages to be metal. The one caveat, the one exception, is before the door defense here. I'm going to make them out of glass for a couple of reasons. One, I think it's kind of cool that I'm going to make them out of green glass, and I'm going to trap the fire creatures in these terrariums. Because glass doesn't seem very strong, but you figure dwarves just run a little different than humans. Maybe they, make them real thick. You think about it, a dwarf will make an entire wall out of glass that's impenetrable. So the cage, it's just not it's not like a bunch of windows. Because if you think about it, windows are breakable, cages are not. So it's a cage that has strength closer to a wall than a window. Probably not as, that's, I don't know. It is what it is. All right, so that'll be my one caveat. The rest of the cages I'm going to try and keep metal. The other thing, and I typically do this with all my forts, is I try and use only exceptionally crafted and masterwork and above, and artifact. Just so you see quality. See if I spelled that right. A terrible spell. Yeah, no, I'm good. All right, so exceptional is right here. Anything below superior quality and lower, I'm going to try and sell or trade it away, or, well, that's the same thing, but or gift. Yeah, so and I also try and get rid of all. So I only want exceptional, masterful, and artifacts. So it's a little bit of a challenge. In fact, in this time, when I'm even going to try and do that with the what do you call it? The nest boxes, because I do compromise sometimes. I'm going to try and compromise less on that stuff. All right, so here's where the keep's going to go. So I'm going to keep the animals up here somewhere, and this will kind of be my initial startup. I'm going to have cooking and everything. This is going to be the hub. I'm going to have somewhere in the center here where it's going to go down. I'll eventually put up the walls. It'll work out one way or another. So we'll do all that. I'll leave these trees alone primarily, but I will get my trees from carving out around it. Like these trees here are going to be used over here. I'm going to cut this way. I'm going to take, I'm probably going to have the wall somewhere in here. That makes sense because, a couple trees here, maybe take those out. And the other trees I'm going to take, because I like a lot of willow. Willow is light. I like to make wheelbarrows. That's another word I, for some reason, have a hard time saying. Wheelbarrows. I call them war barrels or some stupid things. But I got war on the mind. But yeah, I got a lot of willow here. It's unfortunate it's so far away. It's going to take a long time. I like rope reeds too. I got tons of rope reeds. It's going to take a lot of time, but hey, it's how it is. And I'll be able to make a lot of stuff out of willow. Another entrance is going to be down here somewhere. I haven't completely, maybe here. I might go down a Z level, which looks like it's more of this, and then just cut all the way over to here. And this is where a lot of the main fortress is going to be. And I'm going to kind of do some exploratory digging up a little bit before I decide exactly where I'm going to put the main furnaces and stuff. I decided I'm going to have 2 stages of furnaces. Because I'm going to have the furnaces up here. Well, actually 3 stages. I'm going to have the furnaces up here. Maybe just 2, because I'm having this. How far do I have to go with this? I'm going to have furnaces here, but then I'm going to have a grand furnace area down there where I'm going to be able to block it off from incoming invaders. You'll see. You'll see. You'll see, or you won't see. And you'll be like, "What are you talking about?" You said, "Yeah, I'd see," and I don't see. But we'll see. We'll see. All right. Yeah, I think I covered everything. Oh, I also there's a kiwi hen. The other thing I did, it's the only cheat that I'm giving myself. There's one other one I wanted to do. I was like really tempted, but I didn't do it. Um, Prospect All. I did Prospect All, which gives you an inventory of everything. Like I could see here, you know, topically there's clay loam and there's sphalerite, quartzite, and so there's a bunch of obsidian. If you could see here. There's tons of obsidian. There's sand, not necessarily all in the right places. Tons of fire clay, which is perfect. Andesite. So this gives you an idea of some of the materials I can use. Microcline, gobolite, that's typical stuff. I got all kinds of metal. Unfortunately, well here I'll get into the breakdown of the area again. I think there's dactite here, but yeah, that's the boring stuff. As far as the exciting stuff. The other thing that's perfect about this place, and it's not perfect, you know, like I said, that's really the tall order to find perfect, is there's no flux stone. Ugh, you know. So I'll be able to get that through trade, and I will generate metal by another cheat. Okay, yeah. The other cheat I'm going to do is I'm going to do the melt cheat. Like you can make steel greaves and melt them. They melt for 1.5 of their worth for some reason because of coding. I guess I don't know. I don't code, so I couldn't tell you why. So I'll be able to generate it that way. But as you can see right here, I have plenty of hematite. 23 grand. That's plenty. It's a lot. That's all I have is hematite. It looks like I don't have limonite or limonite. Let's see, magnetite. I don't have any of that, but a lot of gold, more gold than anything. Tetrahedra is number 2. Galena. So I have lead, sphalerite. Sphalerite's the ore of zinc. That'll be helpful to making brass. Do I have Galena, copper, hematite? Oh yeah, I have cassiterite. I don't have a lot. So cassiterite, tin. Also, with the cassiterite, you can do tin glazes. It's another thing in addition to transforming it into bronze. I mean, unless you like tin, you know, tin stuff, but I don't really make stuff out of tin. I got a lot of native copper, whatever. Adamantine, that's a decent number. Although it could be higher. I mean, especially with a 5x5. I got some aluminum. That's nice. Horn silver, bismuthinite. You always get like a tiny amount of that. It's for you can make bismuth bronze if you want. All right, so over here. Got rock crystal. I always like to look at this number because you can eventually make crystal glass. So almost 5 grand. That's a nice number from what I know of it. There is no colonite, which is unfortunate, but I have fire clay. So hey, you know, hey, fire clay. I don't have any lignite or bituminous coal. Again, I don't really mind that though because I got a volcano. Like if I don't have a volcano, it's like I got to burn the forest. I got to be Saruman. But here, yeah, I'm going to have a volcano, so like I said, this place isn't perfect, but it's really, really nice. How are we on time? Okay, we're about there. I don't want to make it much more than half an hour. All right, we can see we're at level, 119 here. This gives you a little bit also, it's a little bit of a cheat. Oh, the other cheat I wanted to do is I wanted to do reveal. That's where, so this gives you an inventory of everything that you can see and you can't see. There's also prospect, which actually will give you just a count of everything you can see. That's less of a cheat. This is, you know, because dwarves should know stuff about their environment. They're very good with stone. I chalk it up to a mystical dwarf thing. That's what I do. But here, this lets you know not only what kind of vegetables and trees you have, but it kind of shows you where the caverns come in. I look for the highest number of the underground stuff, and it looks like it's 90. So that very well could mean that 90 is the very bottom of the topmost level of the first layer of caverns. So you could go down to 100 comfortably, I would believe. You know, But any lower than that, you're risking hitting the caverns. And as we can see, it goes down to 110. Let's just do that. As you can see right here, 19. And then we're at 109 here, 110. There we go. All right. So I think that concludes my episode 0. I think I covered everything I wanted to cover. Thanks for watching. And if you didn't watch, well, I guess I'm not addressing you. You can't hear me. So there's that. Oh, yeah. One final thing. Olin has Dodger too, because I think that's important with the woodcutters. I used to sometimes just, well, I used to do a lot of things, but I would not always, I noticed that if you give them wood cutting, that they can still get hurt by falling logs. So what I was doing for a while, I was giving 4 in woodcutter and 1 in Dodger. But then I had a guy a dwarf got hurt, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna up it. But what I used to do before that even is I'd put 1. I don't know what kind of fluctuate. I'd put something in wood cutting, and then I'd put 1 in 1 in dodging, and I'd put 1 in axe dwarf, just to sort of like, and there's some sense in that. I might eventually do that again. So say Olin's out cutting, something comes by, he's proficient in swinging that axe and chopping your head off, not just trees. So I don't always do that though. I like to the higher the wood cutting ability, the quicker the forest comes down. I don't know. All right. Thank you once again for all your help and watching my video, however that works. I don't know. All right. So yeah, I think that concludes. I was trying to think anything last minute, but yeah, I think I've talked about pretty much most of what I did, and anything I forgot to mention as far as theory. Or not, or planning or whatever, you'll see in the following videos. Thanks again. Have a good one.